My co-star's kiss just outed us to the world. The scorching Los Angeles sun was blazing down on the set of Empire of Shadows. As I stood outside the makeup trailer, I couldn't help but wipe the sweat from my brow. I mean, why did every first day on set have to feel like I was stepping into a furnace? "Hey, new guy," a voice called out. I turned to see a man strolling towards me, his smile bright enough to rival the sun. "You must be Liam Monroe. I'm Noah Kenneth." Noah Kenneth. The name rolled off my tongue like a forbidden candy. He was all over the tabloids for his easygoing nature and infectious laugh, not to mention his killer jawline. Up close, he was even more stunning than his photos. He was taller than I expected, with tousled dark hair, piercing blue eyes, and a grin that could melt ice. "Nice to meet you, Noah," I said, shaking his hand. His grip was firm, and his touch sent a jolt through me. "Ready for the madness?" he asked. "More or less," I replied, trying to sound casual. Truth be told, my heart was racing, and it wasn't just from the heat. "Great, let's get you introduced to the chaos," Noah said, leading the way to the set. Crew members scurried around, setting up cameras and adjusting lights. Evelyn, the director, was shouting her orders. It was organized chaos, and it was exhilarating. "Noah, Liam, over here," the director called out. "We've got a scene to shoot, and I need you both ready in 10. "Guess it's showtime," Noah whispered, giving me a wink that made my stomach do a somersault. We made our way to the set, where the crew was putting the final touches on a medieval throne room. Empire of Shadows was a fantasy series full of political intrigue and dark magic, and my character, Prince Alaric, was at the center of it all. Noah played Rylan, my loyal but enigmatic ally. It was originally a critically acclaimed novel with a large fan base, so it was exciting and daunting at the same time. As we stepped into our positions, the director approached us. "All right, this scene is crucial. Alaric and Rylan are confronting the traitor in their midst. It's intense, emotional. I need the two of you to bring your A game." "Got it," Noah said, giving me a reassuring nod. The cameras rolled, and suddenly, I was no longer Liam Monroe. I was Prince Alaric, a ruler betrayed. Noah transformed into Rylan. "Rylan, we can't trust anyone," I said, my voice heavy with despair. "We have each other, Alaric. That's all that matters," Noah replied, his gaze locking with mine. I felt the intensity of his gaze and I froze. It was just a glance. Why was I so bothered? "Cut! That was perfect," the director shouted. "Take 5, everyone." As the crew began to reset for the next take, Noah and I stepped aside. My heart was still pounding from the scene, but Noah's calm demeanor was a grounding force. "You're a natural," he said, clapping me on the back. "Thanks," I replied, my face flushing. "You're not so bad yourself." "High praise from the new guy," he teased, his grin infectious. "Let's grab a coffee before we dive back in." Noah went ahead of me to the snack table. By the time I joined him, he had already piled a plate high with an assortment of snacks. "Didn't you say you just wanted coffee?" I teased, grabbing a bottle of water. "Coffee is just the beginning," Noah replied, handing me a donut. "You've got to try this." I took a bite and groaned. "Okay, you win. These are amazing." "See? Stick with me, kid. I'll show you all the good stuff." We found a quiet corner of the set to sit and talk. Noah had a way of making you feel like you'd known him forever. He talked about his early days in Hollywood, the weird auditions, the terrible gigs, and the small victories that kept him going. "So, what's your story?" he asked, leaning back and giving me his full attention. "Not much to tell," I shrugged, suddenly feeling self-conscious. "I've been acting since I was a kid. Did some commercials, a few indie films. One blew up, I bagged an award, and now here I am. And how are you finding the spotlight? He asked, eyes twinkling with mischief. It's intense, I admitted. Sometimes I feel like I'm constantly under a microscope. Yeah, it can be tough, Noah agreed, his tone softening. But you know what? It's important to have people you can trust, people who get it. I nodded, feeling a strange comfort in his words. Yeah, I guess you're right. Hey, if you ever need to talk, I'm here. We actors gotta stick together, right? Right, I said, smiling. Thanks, Noah. By the time we finished for the day, I felt lighter, more at ease. Thanks to Noah. 1 week later. The first week of filming flew by in a blur of costumes, script changes, and late-night shoots. Noah and I quickly fell into a rhythm, both on and off the screen. The first episode was out and it would air tonight. After filming, Noah suggested we grab dinner. There's this great little place not far from here, he said. Best burgers in town. Lead the way, I replied, eager for a chance to unwind before kicking back in my apartment. We slipped out back of the studio, hoping to avoid the paparazzi that were starting to lurk around. Noah's favorite burger joint was cozy, dimly lit place that smelled like heaven. We snagged a booth in the corner and ordered burgers and fries, the ultimate comfort food. So, what's the real Liam Monroe like? Noah asked, taking a sip of his soda. Off camera, I mean. I hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. Well, I'm just a guy trying to make it in this crazy industry, I said, finally. I like reading, hiking, and I have a slight obsession with old movies. Really? What's your favorite? He asked, leaning in with genuine interest. Casablanca, I admitted, feeling a bit embarrassed. Classic choice, he said, nodding appreciatively. Mine's Some Like It Hot. There's something about that film that just gets me. We spent the next hour trading stories and laughing over our shared love of vintage films. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I could be myself without any pretenses. My phone alarm buzzed relentlessly on the table and I glanced at the time. It's almost showtime. Where will you be watching the first episode? Noah shrugged. I try not to watch my stuff. What? I asked, shocked. I thrived on watching my own stuff. It made me better at my craft. But watching yourself will help you improve. Have you met me? He smiled, sounding a tad bit cocky. But I couldn't deny it. Noah Kenneth was an amazing actor. Regardless, a part of me wanted to watch us together on screen. I wanted him to watch us. How about we watch it at my place? I've got popcorn and beer. You want me to come over? When he put it that way, it sounded weird. Yes, my couch is pretty big. I'm game if you are, he chuckled, tugging on his jacket like an eager child. I wore my jacket and made my way to the parking lot where Noah parked earlier. The ride home was silent, with music playing softly in the car. There was nothing in particular to talk about, and awkwardness settled in. Was I weird for inviting my co-star over? Ignoring the fact that he was hotter than sin, I just wanted to watch the show with him. Where do you live? Noah interjected through my thoughts, pointing out the fact that he had also been driving aimlessly for a hot minute. We doubled over, unable to control our laughter. It just showed that we were both nervous and overthinking things. Benson Avenue, the 3rd apartment building. Okay. Getting to my apartment was pretty easy, and I flipped on the lights. It wasn't a penthouse like Noah's, but it was pretty decent. Kita, my cat, meowed from the kitchen, and I felt Noah freeze beside me. You have a cat? Yeah, she's the cutest thing. Are you allergic? No, just surprised. Thought you were more of a dog person. People can surprise you. I said, feeling a sudden urge to defend my feline companion. Plus, she's great company. Kita sauntered over, weaving between Noah's legs and giving him a thorough inspection. "Well, hello there," he murmured, crouching down to scratch her behind the ears. Kita purred contentedly, and I felt an unexpected warmth spread through my chest. "I'll get the snacks ready," I said, heading to the kitchen. "Make yourself at home." As I busied myself with the popcorn and beer, I could hear Noah moving around the living room. "You've got quite the collection of certificates and pictures," he called out. "Yeah, some from school, some from acting workshops," I replied. "They remind me of where I came from." "Hey, is this you in a school play?" he asked, his voice full of amusement. "Yep," I said, popping my head out of the kitchen. "That was me as Oliver Twist, my first role." Noah laughed. "You looked so serious." "Acting was serious business," I replied, grinning, "even at 10. I brought the snacks into the living room and found Noah comfortably sprawled on the couch. Kita nestled in his lap. He looked up at me with a smile that made my knees a little weak. "Popcorn and beer as promised," I said, setting everything on the coffee table. "Perfect," he said, grabbing a handful of popcorn. "Ready to watch us in action?" I nodded, though my heart was doing somersaults. We settled in, and I started the episode. As the opening credits rolled, I kept sneaking glances at Noah, watching for his reactions. "Stop staring at me," he ordered, without looking away from the screen. I jumped, almost spilling my beer. I'm not staring." "Sure you're not," he smirked. "If you keep it up, I might have to bite you." I laughed nervously. "You wouldn't." Noah turned to face me, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "Wanna bet?" I decided to call his bluff. I stared directly at him, my eyes daring him to follow through. "Go ahead," I said, my voice shaking slightly. "Bite me." His grin widened, and before I could react, he leaned in and gently bit my wrist. It was more playful than painful, but the suddenness of it sent a shiver down my spine. "Ow!" I yelped, pulling my hand back. "You actually did it!" Noah chuckled, his laughter low and warm. "Told you I would." I rubbed my wrist, feeling the lingering warmth of his touch. We were close enough that I could see the tiny flecks of gold in his blue eyes. My heart pounded in my chest for a moment. I thought we might kiss, but then Kita meowed loudly, breaking the spell. We both jerked back, awkwardly clearing our throats. Guess she wants attention," Noah said, scratching her under the chin. "Yeah, she can be demanding," I replied, trying to steady my breathing. "Let's finish the episode." We turned our attention back to the screen, but the tension lingered. I couldn't help stealing glances at Noah, my mind racing with thoughts. I couldn't quite put it into words. When the episode ended, I turned to Noah. "Well, what do you think?" I laughed, feeling some of the tension ease. "Yeah, we didn't mess up too badly." Noah stood up, grabbing his jacket. "I should get going. Early ad shooting tomorrow." I walked him to the door, feeling an odd mix of relief and disappointment. "Thanks for coming over," I said, opening the door. "No problem," he replied, giving me a warm smile. "It was fun." We stood there for a moment, the silence stretching out between us. Then, without warning, Noah pulled me into a hug. It was quick, a little awkward, but it sent a thrill through me. "See you tomorrow, Liam," he said, stepping back. "Yeah, see you," I replied, feeling my face heat up. I watched him walk down the hall, his footsteps echoing softly. When I closed the door, I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Hugging myself, I giggled like a schoolboy, my mind replaying the night's events. Kita meowed at my feet, looking up at me with her usual disdain. "What?" I asked, scooping her up. "Can't a guy have a little fun?" She nuzzled my chin, purring softly. I carried her to the couch, flopping down and letting out a contented sigh. Tonight had been unexpected, but in the best way possible. As I lay there, my thoughts drifted back to Noah. There was something about him that made me feel alive. Maybe it was his confidence, his easygoing nature, or the way he made me laugh. Maybe, just maybe, I was growing a little crush in my heart farm. The next day on set, the atmosphere was buzzing. Everyone was on cloud nine because the ratings for the first episode of Empire of Shadows had hit an all-time high. There was laughter, high fives, and even a few celebratory donuts at the craft services. It felt like the first day of school, but with more medieval costumes and a lot more coffee. I, however, was nursing a mild disappointment. Noah didn't have any scenes today, which meant I wouldn't see him. We had clicked so well that his absence felt like a missing piece in the puzzle of my day. I had a couple scenes lined up, including one with Tori, who played the love interest of Noah's character, Rylan. Tori was a last-minute addition, a decision by the director who thought a romantic subplot would help the show. I wasn't thrilled about her role. She wasn't even in the original book, and the fans were already grumbling online about her unnecessary presence. In this scene, I was supposed to jump off a roof while suspended by prop wires, looking all heroic and princely. Tori's character, Ilara, was supposed to shout a warning to me, but she kept flubbing her lines. It was take 3, and the wires were digging into my shoulders and armpits. Painful wasn't even the word. I was this close to rethinking my entire career choice. "Cut!" someone yelled from behind the camera. It wasn't the director. I squinted beneath the blinding lights and saw Noah standing there, looking like he was ready to storm the set. "Noah, what are you doing here?" I asked, surprised but secretly pleased to see him. He ignored my question and walked straight over to help me out of the ropes. As his hands brushed my back, I winced. "You're bleeding," he said, his voice panicked. I glanced down and saw a small but noticeable blood stain on my shirt. "It's nothing, just a scratch," I tried to say, but Noah wasn't having it. Before I knew what was happening, he picked me up in a princess carry. "Whoa, Noah, put me down," I protested, feeling my face heat up. "No way," he said firmly. "You need to get that looked at." As he carried me off set, I could hear the director yelling for medics and Tori crying and apologizing. I waved it off, trying to smile through the discomfort. "It's okay, really." Noah shot a glare at Tori. "Learn your lines before you jeopardize someone else's safety." "Noah, chill," I said, patting his arm to calm him down. "I'm fine." He grumbled something under his breath, but kept carrying me to his personal trailer. I had expected to be taken to my own, but Noah was clearly on a mission. Inside his trailer, he gently set me down on the couch and started fussing over me like a worried mother hen. He carefully removed my costume jacket, revealing the scrape on my back. I felt a bit awkward being undressed, but I bore with it. "Stay still," he ordered, grabbing some cotton wool and antiseptic from the first aid kit. He dabbed at the wound and I hissed in pain. "Sorry," he said, his voice softening. He started blowing on the cut to soothe it, and it felt weirdly intimate. "That's nice," I muttered, trying to focus on anything but the closeness between us. He glanced up, his eyes meeting mine. The atmosphere between us shifted again, charged with something I couldn't quite name. I felt my pulse quicken and my breath catch. Desperate to break the tension, I reached for my shirt and pulled it on in a hurry. "I think that's good enough," I said, my voice coming out higher than I intended. Noah looked a bit disappointed but nodded. "You can't shoot the scene like this. You should rest." "I can't just leave," I protested, even though the idea of a nap sounded heavenly. "Rest," he insisted, guiding me to a cot in the corner of the trailer. "Here, take this." He handed me a sweatshirt that smelled unmistakably like him. I hesitated, then slipped it on. It was warm and comforting, like being wrapped in a Noah-scented hug. "Thanks," I said, feeling my cheeks heat up again. Get some sleep, he said, his voice gentle. I'll handle everything else. I nodded, lying down on the cot. As I closed my eyes, I felt a strange sense of peace. Noah's presence, his care, it was all a bit overwhelming, but in the best way possible. I drifted off to sleep with a smile on my face, the scent of his sweatshirt surrounding me. When I woke up, it was to the sound of Noah softly singing to himself. I blinked, adjusting to the dim light inside the trailer. He was sitting at a small table, scribbling notes on a script. Hey, I said, my voice groggy. He looked up and smiled. Hey, sleepyhead, how you feeling? Better, I admitted, stretching. Thanks for taking care of me. Anytime, he replied, his smile widening. You needed it. I sat up, feeling the soft fabric of the sweatshirt against my skin. I should probably get back to set. Take it easy, he said, standing up. You've had a rough day. Thanks to you, I teased, though my words were laced with gratitude. He chuckled. Just doing my job, Prince Alaric. As I got ready to leave, he stopped me at the door. Seriously, Liam, if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask. I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through my chest. I will, Noah. Thanks. 1 week later. Over the next week, episode 2 was released and the ratings went through the roof. My follower count on social media pages multiplied into the thousands. Fans were loving the show, and they especially adored Prince Alaric and Ryland's dynamic. As for me, I was spending more and more time in Noah's trailer. Ever since my injury, he insisted I rest there. I protested at first. Spending so much time with him was dangerous for my heart. I couldn't control the way it pounded around him. But he seduced me with snacks and ice cream. He even got his manager to bring Kita over to set during night scenes. He was the best. Too nice, even. God help me, I was catching feelings. Now, we had a 30-minute break before the fight scene, and Noah had stepped out to get me some cookies. I was lounging on the couch, scrolling through my phone, when I heard shuffling at the door. That's weird. Noah? I called out. No answer. My heart rate kicked up a notch. I stepped out of the trailer and looked around. Kita meowed behind me, but refused to leave the plush cat bed Noah had bought for her. I circled the trailer, my nerves tingling with every step. At the last minute, someone grabbed my hand. I said a prayer in 3 different languages and begged for my life. Noah's laughter cut through my panic. You should have seen your face, he said, laughing hard enough to double over. I punched his chest, anger and relief mingling. You scared the hell out of me. He pulled me into a hug, his strong arms calming my racing heart. Sorry, he murmured against my hair. I didn't mean to scare you. I rested my head against his chest, feeling the rapid rhythm of his heartbeat. From the way his heart was racing, I could tell he was affected by us too. But we were treading a fine line. He gently lifted my chin, his eyes searching mine before he leaned in and placed a warm kiss on my lips. The night air wrapped around us like a secret, and for a moment, nothing else mattered. We couldn't afford to fall, but I wanted to. What's the worst that could happen? 2 days later. Apparently, the worst that could happen was a paparazzi photo of us looking too close, offset, surfacing and sparking speculation in the tabloids. It happened 2 days after the kiss. The headline read, Empire of Shadow Stars, Too Close for Comfort? Accompanied by a grainy photo of Noah and me walking back to his trailer, looking cozy and suspiciously couple-like. The producers were not pleased. We were called into a meeting with stern faces and worried tones. They feared backlash and warned us to be more discreet. You need to be careful, Noah said as we left the meeting. His eyes were dark with worry. I don't want to lose this, whatever it is we have. Whatever we have? It didn't even have a label. Neither do I. I replied, squeezing his hand. We'll figure it out. But things only got worse. A few days later, during a break between scenes, Noah and I found a secluded spot behind some props. We thought we were alone, safe from prying eyes. We shared a quick kiss, just a moment of comfort in a stressful day. Click. The sound of a camera shutter broke our kiss. We turned to see one of the crew members holding up a phone, an apologetic look on their face. I'm so sorry, they said. I didn't mean to. Delete it, Noah said, his voice low and dangerous. I will, the crew member stammered. I promise I won't show anyone. Noah didn't believe him. Neither did I, but the director was already calling us back for a scene. The crew member fled before we could even figure out our next course of action, but the damage was done. Word spread quickly. Our secret was no longer safe. We couldn't just explain the kiss away. The producers were furious. The tabloids had a field day, and the pressure on Noah and me grew unbearable. The next day, the photo went viral. The world shifted on its axis. My phone buzzed incessantly, and my social media accounts exploded with notifications. I'd never felt more exposed in my life. The picture was everywhere. The caption read, "Empire of Shadow Stars too close for comfort?" On set, the mood had turned from celebratory to tense. Whispers followed me like a shadow. The producers called us into a meeting, their faces stern and filled with worry. The director was livid. "You need to be more discreet," she said, her eyes drilling into both Noah and me. "The show's success is riding on this, and we can't afford a scandal, so we have a new plan." I groaned. "What's that?" "A fake relationship." Keeping our relationship a secret was one thing, but the studio had other plans. They wanted to control the narrative, and their solution was a fake relationship between Tori and me. When the director proposed it, I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "We need to divert attention," she said, her tone final. "A romantic relationship between Tori and you will do just that." Tori, who had been sitting quietly, nodded. "I'm okay with it, but why do they have to hide it?" she said, through her eyes betrayed a hint of reluctance. Noah's jaw tightened, and I could feel his anger simmering beneath the surface. "This is ridiculous," he said, standing up. "You can't force us into this." Evelyn didn't flinch. "It's not up for discussion, Noah. This is the best way to protect the show and your careers. Empire of Shadows already had its cult following, and having two gay leads will cause problems." She didn't have to say it. We understood. Later, in my trailer, Noah paced back and forth, frustration on his face. "This isn't fair," he muttered. "They're using you." "I know," I said softly, my heart breaking at the sight of his distress. "But what choice do we have?" He stopped pacing and looked at me, his eyes filled with pain. "Maybe I should just leave the show. It'd be easier for everyone." "No!" I stood up, crossing the space between us. "Don't even think about it. I need you here. We can figure this out together." Noah agreed, but I could see the look in his eyes. He had other plans. 2 weeks later. The days that followed were a blur of stress and strained interactions. On set, we were professional, but behind the scenes, it felt like we were falling apart. Tori played her part well, but every staged kiss and public appearance felt like a dagger to my heart. It felt as if Noah was drifting from me. My image was rugged, and I was supposed to play the part of Tori's manly boyfriend, but all I wanted to be was in Noah's arms, cuddling with Kita. This evening, in between scenes, I found myself sitting with Robert, a veteran actor who played a wise old sage in the show. 10 years ago, Robert came out and lost his position in the Hollywood rankings. He used to act in the romance niche, everyone's heartthrob. Him coming out as gay raised questions of an unrealistic portrayal of romance in the heterosexual sense. He had to stop acting for a while before making a comeback in the fantasy genre. He had seen it all in Hollywood, and his story scared and inspired me at the same time. I shuffled awkwardly next to him and cleared my throat. "Rough day?" he asked, his voice gentle. I nodded, feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders. "I don't know what to do. This whole thing is tearing me apart." He gave me a sympathetic smile. "Liam, let me tell you something. Being true to yourself is the most important thing you can do. If you love Noah, don't let anyone or anything take that away from you. The world will always have opinions, but it's your life. Live it on your terms." His words resonated with me, giving me the courage I needed. I knew what I had to do. I went straight to Noah's trailer, determined to set things right. But when I knocked on the door, there was no answer. After a minute of this, I opened the door and found him inside, looking distant and lost in thought. "Noah," I called, approaching him cautiously. He turned to me, and for a moment I saw a flicker of hope in his eyes, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared. "Liam, we shouldn't be seen together," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Why are you avoiding me?" I demanded, my frustration bubbling over. "I don't want to hide anymore." He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I'm avoiding you because I don't want you to get into more trouble. They're watching us with their hidden cameras and spies, Liam." The jokes again. "Stop doing that," I said, my voice cracking. "Stop acting happy and cheery all the time. That's your Hollywood image, not who you truly are. It's okay to have worries and fears. It's okay not to crack a joke every time." His eyes widened, and I saw a flicker of vulnerability. "I just want to protect you," he said, his voice breaking. "I don't want you to suffer because of me." Tears welled up in my eyes. I'm nothing like my public image either. I look all muscular and macho, but I'm actually a softie who likes vintage movies and cats. I'm tired of pretending. Noah took a step closer, his hand reaching out to wipe away my tears. "Liam." Before I knew it, his lips were on mine, warm and desperate. The kiss was everything, passionate, tender, a promise of a future we both craved. When we finally pulled apart, breathless and teary-eyed, I knew what I had to do. "I want to have a press conference," I said, my voice steady. "I want to address everything." Noah's eyes softened, and he nodded. "I don't want to hide my boyfriend." I brushed his hands off, trying to hide the butterflies in my stomach. "I don't want to hide my boyfriend either, but he needs to remember that he's not my boyfriend until he asks me properly." He chuckled through his tears too. "Deal." 1 week later, after a crazy week of 4 aired episodes, we sat on the couch on set, watching the recorded press conference. My head was on Noah's chest, and we giggled at the shocked looks on the reporters' faces when I came out publicly. "Look at that one," I pointed, snickering. "She looks like she's seen a ghost." Noah laughed, the sound vibrating through his chest. "You did well, Liam." Set members glanced at us curiously, some whispering. One of the makeup ladies called us faggots, but I ignored it, focusing on Noah's comforting presence. As much as I hated it, not everyone would be accepting of us. Some people would even call us sinners, but they've never had to walk a mile in our shoes, so their judgment was irrelevant. We read through the comments underneath our posts and replied to a few. Surprisingly, amongst Empire of Shadows' cult following, there were boys love fanatics who shipped Alaric and Rylan, and in turn, they were now hardcore fans of our relationship. Episode 6 will be airing tonight. "Popcorn and beer?" I asked, tilting my head up for a kiss. Noah set his phone aside and returned the kiss. "I wouldn't miss it for the world." Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a familiar face. It was the crew member who had taken the picture of us kissing. He tried to hide, but I recognized him immediately. I felt a surge of anger. "That's the guy," I said, standing up. "He outed us." Noah grabbed my arm, holding me back. "Liam, wait." The crew member approached, his face pale and apologetic. "I'm so sorry," he stammered. I didn't mean to." Noah's voice was cold. "You took our choice away. It was our right to decide when to come out." "I know," he said, looking down. I'm really sorry." Being outed hurt. It felt like I was naked on a stage in front of a grand audience who had nothing but judgment and prejudice. We were robbed of our choice. At that moment, the director walked over, her expression stern. "We place high importance on protecting the privacy of our actors," she said loudly, making sure everyone heard. "You're fired." The crew member's face fell, and he scurried away, head bowed and shamed. It was also a silent warning to other crew members. "That doesn't mean I'm letting you slack off. I need you both on set in 10, the director ordered us, sashaying away from the break area. Noah turned to me, his eyes filled with pride. "She loves us." I couldn't help but smile. "Your jealous ass didn't think that way 3 weeks ago." Noah nodded. "Not in the slightest. I didn't even know if I could be possessive then, but now..." He crawled out the final syllable while pulling out a ring box. "No way." I backed up, shocked and scared. "I swear I'll run out if that's a proposal ring." Too fast?" "Bloody hell, Noah, way too fast," I scolded, taking in the beauty of the silver band in his hands. Its rounded edges glinted underneath the white lights. It was simple but very beautiful. "Okay, just take it as a promise ring?" I didn't need to be told twice. I thrust my finger into the outstretched ring. "Yes, I will." Noah doubled over with laughter. "You were supposed to wait for me to slip it onto your finger." I pulled him into a tight hug and whispered into his ear. "Why wait if I'm sure I want it?" Acceptance was hard to find, but it was out there in the little things. I kissed Noah excitedly, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. "Let's be ourselves," I said softly, "and find acceptance wherever we can." Noah nodded, pulling me into a tight embrace. "Together. Together," I echoed. Empire of Shadows was a success, and filming the entire season took 6 months. It was stressful, but it helped that my partner in real life was also my partner on set. It did wonders for our relationship. We received support from unexpected places, including fellow actors and fans who admired our courage. All's well that ends well. The end. Coming out or getting outed? Which one is easier? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our rainbow.